Alright, so let's talk about rub and buff. What is it? Well, it's like fine metallic particles suspended in like a carnauba wax. It's a really great way to bring out the highlights on an otherwise plain piece. It's really easy and just takes a few minutes to apply and adds a cool kind of antique look. Now, what I've been using isn't rub and buff per se. It's basically the same thing, it's just not the brand name. This is called gilding wax. Some people call it antiquing wax. It can often be found for a little bit lower cost, but they both work the same way and give the same effect. This stuff goes a long way. I've had this jar for about 6 months now. I've done a lot of small pieces with it, and a few big ones like the 6-foot xenomorph I finished a couple months ago. So a few other things we'll need: a microfiber cloth, popsicle stick, and a paper plate. I got this nice silver one here, kind of matches the wax. You don't have to do that, it's just what I have. In fact, I'd recommend maybe using a different color plate than the wax. We'll open this up and get a whiff of its potency while we use the popsicle stick to scoop up a tiny bit of the wax. I think it's the turpentine oil in it that smells quite strong. I like to spread it in a wide line across the plate like that. This is optional, you can put it on the plate however you want to, it won't really matter. I find this just makes it easier to get the amount you want on your cloth. I'll close this up and just set it aside here. Now, I like to use the corner of a folded cloth, like right here, in a nice flat area. I think the important part is just not to use it in a bunched up ball. You want to be able to control where the wax is going and not accidentally touch spots with it you don't want the wax on. Just get a bit on the cloth and kind of swirl it around on the plate like you're mixing it. You're not really mixing it, but just working it into the cloth a little more evenly. The first piece we're going to work on today is this Necronomicon storage tome. This is one of the first models I designed. I thought it would just be a cool kind of bookshelf storage box you could keep your little trinkets in. I just printed the inside in white and the outside in black, as you can see. So we'll apply this rub and buff and bring up some of the details. Now, you're not going to want to go straight for the face on the cover. The cloth is kind of saturated at the start, and you don't want to put too much on right away, especially in an area of focus. You'll want to start in a less conspicuous spot. In this case, I think we'll start on the back, maybe with these corner pieces here. So we'll just start gently touching around the corners, careful not to press too hard. Work our way around to all the corners, lightly dabbing. Not doing any rubbing right away really until we get some of the wax off the cloth. Wipe some of the excess off with the dry part of the cloth. You'll see how I'm avoiding motions toward the center of the piece. Get some on the end here now. Still being really gentle with the cloth, just light strokes. Stuff goes on a lot easier than it comes off, so always work your way up. I think the most important part is keeping your strokes going with the natural direction of the piece. You don't really want to be doing circular motions, especially on a flat surface. Wax on, wax off was good advice, but maybe not for every application. Just keeping my motions in the same direction, I'll slowly add some silver to the flat surface. Flat parts are the worst, it's really easy to get too much in spots. I want to get this end a little brighter, I think. Maybe the corners too. Kind of blend in the edges a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks okay for the back cover. Again, not really an area of focus, so good place to start. We'll get a little more on the cloth here, and then I think we'll go for the spine next. So same as before, just nice and careful strokes. Maintaining direction with the natural lines of the piece, back and forth until most of the spine is covered. I'll wipe some back off. The harder you press with the cloth, the less contrast you will have between high and low spots. The wax will get applied into the low points as well. I think that's looking pretty good on the spine. Let's move on to the cover. Freshen up our cloth a bit. We're still not going to want to do the face right away, especially since we just topped up the cloth. We'll maybe go for some of these wispy bits first. Just keep your motions going with the flow of things, up the horns, around the sides. Then we'll start going across the face, thinking about where the light is going to concentrate naturally, around the eye sockets and nose, down along the chin. You get the idea? Keep building it up. Try to keep it relatively even, and wipe off any excess if need be. Gently across the text at the top. Kind of tricky to get around behind the horns. We'll just try and squish the cloth in behind there a bit. It's okay if there's some shadow behind the horns, I think. Get a little more in around the jaw there, I think. Then we'll just do some faster strokes, moving all around the piece, kind of blending it all together again. You don't have to be super accurate or careful here. The cloth is pretty dry at this point, so we're more working in the wax that's already applied rather than adding more wax. Yeah, that's looking fairly decent. I think we'll call this one done. You can really see what a difference it's made from how the base print looked. Okay, let's move on to the second piece we'll do today. This is another model I designed. I like to call it Rebel Caesar. It's like an ancient Roman bust, but with a bit of a punk twist. What with the skull head and mohawk and all. So let's go ahead and get at it. Top up the cloth a bit. Still using the same bit of wax as the previous piece. Again, we won't want to go right for the face first thing. Maybe we'll start with his robe here. Nice gentle strokes at the start, remember. Keep your motions the same direction as the flow. It's a pretty flowy robe he's got on. Maybe it's a toga, I don't know. Did Romans wear togas, or is that strictly a Greek thing? Keep spreading it around over the high spots. This model has some pretty steep peaks and valleys, so you can go fairly heavy with the wax without having to worry about losing too much contrast. Just like that. Every time I get more wax on the cloth, I swirl it around to make sure it's spread across the cloth evenly and no big gobs of wax on there. I think I'll do some of the base now. Trying to keep the motion and pressure steady around the curve. That looks good. Work around. Maybe this top ridge now too. Gentle is key. Happy little strokes, if you will. Didn't really mean to get that bit on there. I'll just keep it going all the way around, like that. No, it looks like I meant to do that. Now the cloth is a little drier, so we can get into the center of this curve, put a light coat in there. Yeah, I like that. Fun fact, when Caesar was 25, he was captured by pirates. Jokingly suggested that they raise his ransom, and after being freed by allies, he later returned to crucify them. The shoulder here. Let's do the face now. Gently over the shallow details. Eye sockets and nose you can be a little more aggressive with. Around the chin and jawline. Yeah, I love what a difference this makes. See if I can get into the neck a bit now. Yeah, that's good. Okay, top up again. And a little more on the shoulder here. Let's go for the mohawk now. Outward motion from the scalp to the end of the hair. Just kind of building it up slowly and work your way along the hawk. Switch to the other side. Don't forget the front. Same deal, outward motions. We want to keep it as even as possible. Dryer cloth again now, so we'll do the smooth surface of the skull. Kind of blending it evenly around the head. I think there's just enough wax left on the plate to finish up the other side. You might notice I did some circular motion there. I know I said not to do that, but the symbol there has a circle, so I was just going with the flow. Yeah, that's looking about done to me. I don't think I'll bother putting any on the back of the cylinder and that flat part there. You could if you wanted to, but probably nobody's looking there. So yeah, that's Rebel Caesar for you. Alright, we'll need a little more wax to do this last piece of the day. Spread it out across the plate, same as before, if you so choose. The last one we'll do today is this deluxe T-Rex skull, designed by Hex 3D, printed in black in 2 pieces on my Sovol SV08. It's got some filigree pattern around it, like the one I showed at the start of the video, and that makes it a great candidate for Rub and Buff. I'll start with the bottom piece. Top up the cloth again. And gently touching the cloth to the pattern in short strokes. Careful not to push too hard. We really only want the wax on the pattern itself and not so much on the skull behind it. You can see how that's really starting to reveal the pattern, but keeping the shadows behind it. Keep working your way around, spreading the wax across the whole surface. Make sure to keep longer strokes going the same direction. Looking pretty good. We'll start to come around to the front of the jaw. Short and gentle strokes in this small area. Maybe we'll put just a bit on the teeth too. You can kind of carefully touch up around the smooth edges. My cloth is pretty dry now at this point, so it's taking a little more pressure to apply anything. We'll go in for a top up and then start the other side of the jaw. As I mentioned earlier, it's a lot easier to put this stuff on than it is to take it off, so it's best not to use too much or to push too hard. As long as you're gentle and do your best to keep things even, you're going to end up with a pretty nice finish. Spread some a little closer to the edges here. In most of the patterned area, there isn't really any direction of flow to try and stick to, so I just try to keep it mostly short strokes and maintain uniform direction with any longer ones. I think we're just about done the jaw. I'll maybe put just a bit on the inside of the teeth too. Yeah, I think that's good. Maybe a little bright, we'll rub a bit back off. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Not too bad. Alright, now for the biggest part. Same deal, it's just bigger. By this point, you'll have a decent understanding of the process I'm using. Main points to take away are really just being a bit careful, moving with the flow of the piece that you're working on. Apply it slowly, starting with short strokes, building it up brighter where you want it. Keep in mind natural lighting and shadows, peaks and valleys. Try and cover as evenly as possible. Don't leave blotches anywhere. And most importantly, have a good time while you're doing it. Don't stress about it. Rub some on, rub some off. A little really does go a long way. You can get good coverage with just a small amount of wax. Just keep applying it all over, working your way around the part. Remember, the harder you push, the less contrast you end up with. That's not like necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on what you're working on and what you want it to look like. It's entirely up to you, really. Once you get a bit of practice, and you've done a few things with it, you'll really get the hang of how it works and how much pressure you need to be using to get it into the places you want. You don't have to use the microfiber cloth to apply it with like I did. That's just what I prefer. I've seen some people use sponges. I think the cloth gives you a little more pressure control, and the microfiber seems to absorb the wax evenly, which is good. Another fun fact, the T-Rex is estimated to have had a bite force around 8,000 pounds. In comparison, a wolf is about 400 pounds. This isn't a life-size T-Rex skull though. That would be much bigger, like 5 or 6 feet. We'll keep working our way around over all these details. Again, trying to get even coverage. I'm spreading it around, getting into all the edges. I'm trying not to get it on the smooth black parts on the inside there, which, like, if this were a real skull, would be holes, I suppose. So I'm just going along now and touching up spots I missed or think could use a little more brightening, covering the teeth. A little bit more on the inside of the teeth with this last bit of wax will finish it up. Now it's looking pretty nice in there now. Yeah, there it is, all finished and together. It's really amazing to me how much of a difference a bit of wax and a few minutes of time can make. Let me know what you think, and maybe give it a shot yourself. Thanks for watching.